සංසාර සාරෝග විනීතනිසං සන්නේත සාතං සුචිසාරදීසං සන්දේරකං සොන්න තනුපලාසං සංලාපදේසින් පනමේ විසාසං සංසාබිගං කේවල මෝහනාසං සන්නාහ කන්මාර රනේ විශේෂං සංසේවිතං දාසි මුදාරහාසං සංහාර ධම්මං පනමේ සදාසං සන්දාස ගන්නාසිත පාපනාසං සන්නාපදන්සිං හතගෝර පාසං සම්පාරගාමින් සුචිසාරවාසං සංවාර සංඝං පනමේ රසාසං නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Homage to the Exalted One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Yo paticca samuppadang passati so dhammam passati yo dhammam passati so paticca samuppadang passati ti. He who sees the dependent origination sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the dependent origination. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, friends in the Dhamma, in this session we are going to discuss the main topic in Buddhism, which is Paticcasamuppada, the dependent origination. This is the heart of Buddhism. A Buddha appeared in this world in order to explain this message. Our liberation, emancipation completely depends on understanding the dependent origination and releasing from the Paticcasamuppada or the dependent origination. Therefore, we should pay our attention in order to understand this very important topic, Paticcasamuppada, which comes in Buddhism. One day Buddha says, Dhammagaru. Who is Dhammagaru? Dhammagaru means Dhamma speaker. There is a discourse that Dhammagaru Sutta. Buddha explains who is the real Dhammagaru, the speaker of Dhamma. There Buddha explains that he who explains the Paticcasamuppada and the cessation of Paticcasamuppada is the person who is the Dhamma speaker. Even though we explain other things in Buddhism, we are not real Dhamma speakers. If you want to be a real Dhamma speaker, we should learn, practice and explain this message to the world. Especially as monastics, we have to know it very clearly. There are many theories about the Paticcasamuppada. There are many places that we can see in Buddhism about the Paticcasamuppada. Sometimes we learn only very few parts, and also we think that that is only Paticcasamuppada. Don't be hurried. There are many variations, many theories in Paticcasamuppada. In Tripitaka, we can see many places the information of Patisampada. Especially we can see in Sutta Pitaka, Udanapali, and also Digha Nikaya, some discourses, Majjhima Nikaya, especially Samyutta Nikaya, Abhisamaya Samyutta, and Patisampitamagga, the Patisampada Katha, and especially we can see very special explanation about Patisampada Vibhanga Prakarana. There we can see some information, the topic of Paticca Samuppada Vibhanga. There we can see a lot of variations. If we want to understand the Patisampada clearly, we should really refer the Abhisamaya, Samyutta, and also especially in Vibhanga Prakarana, Paticca Samuppada Vibhanga. There are many variations there. Sometimes we may think that Namarupa Paccha Vijnana, Vijnana Paccha Namarupa, that is only we can say the both sides. But when we refer Vibhanga Prakarana, there we can see Avidya Paccha Sankhara, Sankhara Paccha Vidya. Sankhara Paccha Vijnana, Vijnana Paccha Sankhara. Vijnana Paccha Namarupa, Namarupa Paccha Vijnana. Namarupa Paccha Salayatana, Salayatana Paccha Namarupa. There are many variations we can see, but we mostly refer only Sutta Pitaka. That is not enough. We have to refer other references too. That is very important. The Buddha says very clearly, Yo Patisampadam Passati, so Dhammam Passati. Yo Dhammam Passati, so Patisampadam Passati. He who sees the divine origination sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the divine origination. On the other side, Buddha says that Yo Mam Passati, so Dhammam Passati. Yo Dhammam Passati, so Mam Passati. He who sees the Buddha sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. In these references, we can see very clearly the way how we understand the Buddha is understanding the Patisampada, the divine origination. When Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya on a Vesak full moon day, the last day that Buddha spent as an ordinary person, in the very first step of the day, night, Buddha realized the Patisampada as ascending order, Anuloma, Avidya Paccha Sankhara, so on. And also the middle step of the evening, Buddha realized that the descending order of the Patisampada, or the Patiloma, and also early morning, the Buddha realized the Anuloma and Patiloma, ascending order and descending order of the Patisampada. And also there Buddha realized not only our Gautama Buddha, but even previous 7 Buddhas, Vipassi, Sikhi, Vesabu, Hakusanda, Konagamana, Kassapa, those Buddhas also have realized this very special teaching, which is Patisampada. This is a Purana Magga. That is why the Blessed One says Nagara Sutta. In the Nagara Sutta, which comes in Samyutta Nikaya, this is a Purana Magga. This is an ancient path. All other Buddhas who were in the past, they also realized the same thing, Patisampada, and Buddha also realized this message. And the Buddha realized one by one what is the causes, what are the causes of Jara Marana, decay and death. Then Buddha realized the cause of Jara Marana is that birth. Then again Buddha realized what is the cause of birth. There Buddha realized Bhavapaccha Jati, Bhava, or becoming. The process of becoming is the cause of birth. Then again Buddha realized what is the cause of Bhava, or the process of becoming. Then Buddha realized upadana or clinging. What is the cause of clinging? Craving. What is the cause of clinging? Feelings. What is the cause of craving? Clinging, feeling, Vedana is the cause of craving. Then Buddha realized what is the cause of feeling. Then Buddha realized phassa or contact is the cause of feeling. What is the cause of feeling? The cause of feeling is that 6 senses, salayatana. What is the reason of salayatana? Nama rupa paccaya salayatana. Mentality and corporeity is the cause of 6 senses. And also, it based on vijnana or consciousness. The cause of vijnana is that mental formations. Finally, Buddha realized the main cause of all the sufferings, which is avidya. Avidya or ignorance is the worst defilement that causes to suffer. Here, one by one, Buddha realized these things. And here we should understand very clearly that even though there are several factors in Paticamuppada, we can't separate them in the real world. In the world we see forms, sounds, smells, goods, persons, we find those things in the world. These things are realized by the Buddha, by his supramundane understanding and wisdom. We can separate these things in the real world. We should know them by our wisdom, by our understanding. Buddha realized the characteristics of these factors, but in the real world it is very unable to look at them. First of all, we should know them by the faith in the Buddha's enlightenment. When we learn these things, we should be confident in what the Buddha realized here. Having confidence in Buddha's understanding, little by little we go forward, we also can understand it. And also one day Buddha explains the Panchabhavera Sutta, how we overcome Bhaya and Vaira, fear and anger. According to Panchabhavera Sutta, the Buddha says this one too. In order to overcome fear and anger, we have to practice 4 Sotapatti Anga. Buddha avecca prasadana, Dhamma avecca prasadana, Sangha avecca prasadana, and Aryakanta Sila. Then immediately, next Buddha explains, Aryo Nyayo Panyaya Suditto Hoti Supatividdo. This Paticamuppada, the dependent origination, has been explained in various names. Arya Nyaya, Ida Pachata, Paticamuppada. There are several names we can see for the Paticamuppada. And also, the Buddha also explained this message in various ways. When the Blessed One met 5 ascetic people, Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, Buddha explained this message in short. How did Buddha explain it? Yam kinchi samudaya dhammam sabbantha nirodha dhammam. This is the way what Buddha has explained the Paticamuppada. And also sometimes Buddha explains, iti imasmin satidam hoti, imasmin asatidam hoti. When this is, when this is not, this is not. Sometimes Buddha has explained this message as sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe dhamma anatta. In various ways Buddha has explained this message. Sometimes Buddha explains avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, so on. Sometimes Buddha has explained this message avidyayatve vasesa viraga nirodha, Sankhara Nirodho, Sankhara Nirodha, Vijnana Nirodho, so on. With the complete cessation of ignorance, mental formation cease. And also Buddha explained the Patipada Sutta which comes in Abhisamya Samyutta. If you refer Abhisamya Samyutta which comes in Samyutta Nikaya, it is very useful for our understanding this Patisampada. Abhisamya Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya. And there Buddha explains Miccha Patipada and Samma Patipada. What is the Miccha Patipada? Wrong path. What is the Samma Patipada? Correct path. Miccha Patipada means avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, and so on. Dependent on ignorance, mental formations arise. Dependent mental formations, their consciousness arises. This is the wrong path, Miccha Patipada. What is the correct path? Buddha says correct path. Avidyayatve vasya viraga nirodha, sankhara nirodho, sankhara nirodha, vijnana nirodho, vijnana nirodha, namarupa nirodho. That is the correct path. That is the peaceful path. With the complete cessation of ignorance, mental formations cease. With the complete cessation of mental formations, consciousness ceases. This is the correct path according to Patipada Sutta in Abhisamya Samyutta in Samyutta Nikaya. Miccha Patipada and Samma Patipada. Again we can see for the Samma Patipada, as soon as we know the Samma Patipada, we find the correct path. What is that? According to Sammaditthi Sutta, in order to overcome the facts of the Patisampada, the only path we have which is Ariyaṭṭhaṅgika Magga. Sammaditthi Sutta explained by Dhammasenathipati Sariputta Thera. If you want to overcome these facts of the Patisampada, the path that the Noble Eightfold Path. And here we should understand very clearly, there are some words here, Salayatana, Vedana, Sankhara, there are some words here. But these words can be seen in other places too. That is very important. The Buddha explained very clearly in the past and the present. I explain only the suffering and the cessation of suffering. What is suffering? Suffering means the origin of suffering, samudaya satya. What is the cessation of suffering? Nirodha satya. What is that? Samudaya satya means the ascending order of the Patisampada. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya vijnana, and so on. Anuloma. And what is the cessation of suffering? Descending order of the Patisampada. Dukkha nirodha satya. Avidyayatve vasya viraga nirodha, sankhara nirodho, so on. The origin of the cessation of suffering. That is the descending order. And with details, Four Noble Truths. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Marga. When we discuss this Patisampada, it is very important to understand there are three things can be together. What they are? 5 aggregates, 4 Noble Truths, and the dependent origination. These three things are interrelated when we are going to understand and realize the Patisampada. In one side we understand the 5 aggregates, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. On the other side we understand 4 noble truths. And also we understand the dependent origination. These 3 things are very important, since these 3 things are very useful in order to understand the Paticamuppada. And also, as soon as we understand this reality, we understand how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. If we have confidence in this message, immediately energy arises, energy develops in our life. That energy will come through our skin, muscles, nails into our physical body. Since nobody likes suffering. If we know the way how suffering arises, what the Blessed One explained, and also if we know the way how suffering overcomes, if we have confidence in this message, what the Blessed One explained, we have energy. As soon as we have Saddha, we come to Virya, and also we find the path. Then Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. This is the Samadhi part of the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the place where we should be confident. Now gradually we are going to understand the Paticamuppada. When Buddha appeared in the world, there were three wrong views in this world. Some people were thinking that everything happened because of previous causes. That says 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. And also something that ईश्वर निम्मानवाद. Everything happened because of the creative God. And there is another view, 𝐴𝐻𝑒𝑡𝑢 ℒ𝒾 ℒ𝑐𝓃. Everything happens in this world without causes. There are 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, ईश्वर निम्मानवाद, and 𝐴𝐻𝑒𝑡𝑢 ℒ𝒾. When Buddha appeared in this world, when he explained his message, he rejected these three wrong views. Rejecting these three views, Buddha explained the nature of the world based on the dependent origination, Paticamuppada. And also, we go forward little by little how we understand it. Especially we should understand here the nature of ignorance, delusion, avidya. Avidya can be explained in various ways. In very famous explanation is that dukkha aññānaṁ, dukkha samudaya aññānaṁ, dukkha nirodha aññānaṁ, so on. If a person doesn't understand the Four Noble Truths, or if a person doesn't understand arising and ceasing of suffering, that is the ignorance. In our understanding, we can say, when we experience the world, if we think there is a world around me, the physical world, before I experience something through my senses, there was a world. After I experience the world, the material world remains. That is true according to the conventional truth, based on the mundane level truth. We go from birth to birth in the samsaric circle, no matter whether we have good birth or bad births, we follow this way. Having this understanding, we can practice some mental formations. Even punyāvi sankhara we can collect. Meritorious mental formations we can collect. And mostly people create apunyāvi sankhara, demeritorious mental formations. And some wise people practice infertable mental formations. Ananyavi sankhara. Doing these mental formations or sankhara, we are going here and there in this samsaric circle since we have this misunderstanding. Even though we don't experience the world, there is a material world. That is true according to the conventional truth. Actually, we go in the samsaric circle doing good deeds, doing good karma, having this understanding. But the problem is we are unable to overcome jara, vyādi, marana. After Buddha appeared in this world, he realized, discovered and proclaimed to the world how we overcome this misunderstanding or ignorance. We mostly think that when we see something, at the moment there is a material world. As soon as we hear something, we think that the material thing that belongs to my sound is in the outside world. And also when we mostly think something, when you think your relatives, your home, your school, your country, your working place, as soon as you remember it, you think that it is in the outside world. At this moment it is there. For an example, when you think the place where you were born, you can imagine, you can think, the form come to your mind. But it is now actually, if you think the real home, it may be very dark. But we now think that the very past experience, we read our own mind, not the real situation. This is the nature of our ignorance. We read our own mind always. It doesn't mean that there is no material world. Buddhism doesn't say it. According to 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒃 Some people think that there is a world. Some people may think that there is not world. Both of them are extremes. Buddhism has explained these both extremes through this only path, only theory, which is the dependent origination. The Buddha says very clearly, when we see the arising of five aggregates, we don't go to the extreme of nihilism or Usgoda. When we see the cessation of five aggregates, we don't go to the extreme of Sasvatavada or eternalism. These both extremes should be overcome by one theory, which is the Patisampada. How does Buddha explain it? Iti imasmin satidam hoti. When these causes are here, this is. When these causes are not here, this is not here. This is the foundation of the Patisampada. In this situation, when we come to this understanding, we don't say that there is a world or there is not world. Both of them should be overcome by this theory, which is the Patisampada. And also, these parts which come in Patisampada factors are not the very first experience. The very first experience, Vedana, Sanya, or other things, they are neither wholesome nor unwholesome. The very first experience should be realized, should be understood. There are 4 words that always we can see in the Dhamma. Those are very important. The very first one is pariññaya. There are some things that should be understood. And also the second one, 𝒮𝓾𝒾. There are something which are overcome. And 𝒮𝓃 there are something which should be realized. And 𝒮𝓃𝒾, there are something that we can see which should be cultivated, practiced. These 4 words are very, very important. When we read these words, as soon as we know these words, we should understand the Four Noble Truths. භාවේතබ්බ. According to 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, චිත්තං පඤ්ඤංච භාවයං. Sīle patiṭṭhāya naro sapañño chittam paññaca bhavayam. What is that? Which satya? Magga satya. Sometimes we can see avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññāna, so on. What is that? It should be overcome. Vedanam 𝒮𝓾𝒾, sanya 𝒮𝓾𝒾, viññānam 𝒮𝓾𝒾, marityupama sanya. What is that? That is samudaya satya, the cause of suffering. Sometimes we can see the pariññaya. Sometimes Dhamma explains the cakkūṃ pariññayam, rūpam pariññayam, cakkhu viññānam pariññayam. What is that? That is the very first experience in the vipaka level when we contact something that cakkūṃ, cakkhu, rūpa, cakkhu viññāna, so on. Sometimes we can see that cakkūṃ paticca rūpe upajji cakkhu viññānam tīna saṅgati passo until prapanca we go. What is that? That is also the samudaya satya. Sometimes we can see when I is not here, when forms are not here, when I consciousness is not here, then we have no prapanca, no phenomena. What is that? The person who has overcome salayatana. The Arahantas have no salayatana, no 6 senses. It means, salayatana means in the Paටිච්චසමුප්පාද salayatana, based on avidya paccaya sankhara. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññānam, viññāna paccaya nāma-rūpa, nāma-rūpa paccaya salayatanam. Those 6 senses are not in the life of the Arahantas. But they can see something, they can hear something. But they know very well when they experience, when they understand something, the very first experience has already ceased. Then they are associating with the cessation of contact. උන්වහන්සේලා සලායතන samudaya midila salayatana nirodhe sākṣāt karamiņ. In this situation, we can understand this Paටිච්චසමුප්පාda. Avidya paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññānam. When we see these words, we should understand these factors belong to the samudaya satya, the noble truth of the origin of suffering. That is very important. And also, these things based on avidya or ignorance. when we go forward, we can understand in from beginning to end or from the end to beginning. Sometimes Buddha has explained this message from the end to the beginning. What are the causes of Jara Marana? What are the causes of Jati? So on, Buddha has explained from the end to the beginning. I think we also should explain in that way. We mostly explained the Patisambhada from the Avidya to Jara Marana. The Buddha explained these factors sometimes from the end to beginning.
He realized from the beginning, last to end.
Yes, he realized from what he seen. Yes, he realized. Now we can see Jara Marana. Jara Marana means Jara Marana Dukkha. Jara Marana Dhamma and Jara Marana Dukkha are different. Even Arhantas face Jara Marana Dhamma, but they don't have Jara Marana Dukkha, since they have realized the world. Here Jara Marana means suffering. When we are going to old age, decay, sickness, sorrow, lamentation, what is the nearest cost? Actually, nearest cost in the surface level, birth, that we can see. Actually, when you go to the deeper level, that is not the birth what we think now. It means ase ipadima, duke ipadima. Not just our birth certificate birth. Whenever we open our eyes with ignorance, then we take something in the material world. It means our mind depends on the outside material world of persons. When those things change, decay, sickness, we take those suffering as mine, as me, as myself. That is the real birth. Ase ipadima, arising of I is the arising of suffering. And also, however, we can explain it various ways. What is the cause of jati? The nearest cause of jati or birth is that the process of becoming. Bhava jati. Bhava can be divided into uppatti bhava saha kamma. Both things we can see. Kamma bhava means we always create kamma. Punyabi kamma, apunyabi, ananjabi. We create, we make mental formations. As a result of this karmic energy, we have bhava, sansara, or kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava. We have jati. In short, what is bhava? Bhava means when we associate the world, we think that there is a world around me, even though I don't experience. While I am experiencing the material world, there are persons, there is a world. That is the nature of the bhava or the process of becoming. We are ready to come back to the world according to our present mental situation. If we think there is a world, it says that we are ready to come back according to our attachment or craving. As soon as we die here, if our big attachment is to our home, don't worry, speedily you will be reborn there. As soon as you remove your physical body here, you are very close to the place where you have the big attachment. This is the nature of the becoming, the process of becoming bhava. If we have reached the cessation of contact As soon as we understand, we remember something, if we know that the material world has ceased, and also the mentality or mental formations that I realize the material world also arises and ceases at the moment. It means we are living association with the cessation of senses, nirodhyanteya. We are associating with the corner of the cessation of contact. It means we are not ready to come back to the world. It is very difficult to do. We all are practicing that path, practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃. What is the cause of the process of becoming? Upadana or clinging. Clinging is the nearest cause of bhava or the process of becoming. Attachment or taking close to upadana. What is the cause of upadana or clinging? The nearest cause of clinging is that craving, trishna. Craving is the nearest cause of clinging, and also the cause of craving is that feelings. That feeling is that not the very first experience feeling. After the very first experience has ceased, now we have feelings. I have pain in my legs, my body. Those pains are the which relates to the Paticampada. But real feeling that we should know the Mano Sanchetana Vedana, Mano Sampasaja Vedana. We understand all the feelings that we receive through our five senses, through our mind consciousness or mind feelings, mental feelings. The other thing is that when we recognize something through our mental feelings, the five feelings that we receive through our physical body in the vipaka level, they have already finished. Because of not knowing of this reality, we have headache, physical pains, eye feelings, ear feelings, so on. And also, what is the cause of feelings? Phassa or contact. It means we are still in the corner of the contact. Even though the previous experience have already completely ceased, as soon as we remember something, we are still in the contact. The Buddha explained the Dhamma for the cessation of contact. Phassa samudayata බුදුහාමුදුරු ධර්ම දේශනා කළේ. ස්පර්ශ සමුදයට ධර්ම දේශනා කළේ. What is this ස්පර්ශ නිරෝධය? It doesn't mean that we should not contact something. Actually, we can contact something. We can see something. We can hear something. We can smell something. Nate kama yani chitrani loke. There are beautiful things are not the craving. Sankappa rago purisassa kama. The defilements arise inside. The defilements are not in the outside beautiful things. Beauty or ugly depends on our perception. And also here, the contact means phassa we can see in several places. In the vipaka level, phassa or contact should be understood. In this level, in the samudaya satya, we should overcome the contact. And also even arahantas, they also have contact, phassa. Since Arahants have consciousness. When a person has consciousness, it means immediately passa vedana sanya chetana manasikara. Sabbacita sadharana chetasika. Passa vedana sanya chetana ekagatha jivitindriya manasikara. Passa is there. Even arahants have contact, but the difference is that we are in the corner of the contact, but arahants have realized the cessation of contact. They are not living in the contact. They know very well, now eye contact has ceased, so on. Passa means based on ignorance. And also, what is the cause of passa or contact? Salayatana paccaya passo. Salayatana, 6 senses, eye, ear, nose, so on. The Buddha explained Dhamma for the cessation of Salayatana. Salayatana nirodheta buduhanduru bana desana kali. The Supreme Buddha explained his message for the cessation of 6 senses. That is why Madhupindika Sutta explained, when there is no eye, no form, no contact, no feelings, no prapancha. That is the cessation of Salayatana or 6 senses of the Arahants or the Nirodha Satya. In the Nirodha Satya, we release from the 6 senses. It doesn't mean that we can see something. We can see something, we can hear something, but because of our mindfulness, concentration and wisdom, immediately we know that those senses have already ceased. According to 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, I think you have heard about the 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃. There are some servants who have bring in the message from the outside place to the owner of the village. දූතයෝ දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා පාරකින් නගර හිමියාට පණිවිඩයක් අරන් යනවා. මේ දූත යුලත් කියන කවුද? Who are these persons? සමතෝච විපස්සනාච. Concentration and wisdom. If we always follow concentration and wisdom, when some forms come to our world, that person say that, my friend, already I have ceased, I bring only the message, only sound for you. When we come to near you, those things have ceased. Then the owner of the village has a refuge. He doesn't go back to the outside from the village, from the city. If we don't have concentration and wisdom, as soon as we hear something, we suddenly look at there. As soon as someone hit us, we suddenly look at there. But even arahants, they look at, they slowly, mindfully look at from where it comes, but he knows very well, already formal world has ceased. One day, Venerable Sariputta was going somewhere, some person, 𝒃, hit him, then he didn't even look at there. That 𝒃 was very shy and he was so afraid of that incident. Friends, in the Dhamma, Venerable says, we are talking about the factors of the Paටිසම්භාda. The cause of Salayatana or 6 senses are that Nama-rupa, mentality and corporeality. Mentality means our mental formations, corporeality means the formal world, rupa, Satar Mahabhuta Rupa Saha Upadaya Rupa. 4 fundamental elements and also other Upadaya Rupas belong to the Rupanta. We also have these things based on ignorance. And what is the cause of mentality and corporeality? Vijnana paccaya nama rupam. Dependent on consciousness, mentality and corporeality arise. What is the consciousness? Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, so on. There are 6 consciousnesses. What they are? They are not the very first experience consciousnesses. The very first experience consciousness is very pure. That is why it says, Pabassaramidam bhikkhave vijnanam. That is very pure. Pakati parisuddhamidam vijnanam chittam. The very first experience consciousness is very pure. That is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That is neutral. That is very instant. It arises and ceases there. But our consciousness, what is that? Mayopamancha vijnana. This is like a mirage. Since it is based on ignorance, we still have eye consciousness. When we see something, we think that I see this person through my eye consciousness. It means we are in the samsaric circle based on ignorance. We are not away from suffering, decay, sickness and death and other sorrow and lamentation. Vijnana or consciousness arises because of mental formations. Dependent on mental formations, consciousness arises. Mental formations again means punya visankhara, apunya visankhara, ananya visankhara. Meritorious mental formations, demeritorious mental formations, and imperturbable mental formations. Based on ignorance. When we think that there is a material world outside, we create those mental formations, whether they are good or bad or merits or evils, we collect. These 12 factors arise together as soon as we have ignorance. Even though Buddha has divided these things for our understanding by his great wisdom, actually in the world, true world, we can't divide them. We should understand them through our wisdom, through our understanding. We should know the characteristics of these factors, since we have to overcome these things. According to 𝒮𝓃 Sutta, if we can overcome one thing, that's enough for our liberation. If a person can overcome Vedana completely based on ignorance, he can overcome all the factors. For all the factors to overcome, we have only one path, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. For that, we have to practice Sila Samadhi Panya. Virtue or moral conduct, concentration and wisdom. They are Sammaditthi Purejavan. Right understanding is first. Sammaditthi Purejavan. Vision is first, then mission. We should understand this theory according to ascending order and descending order. Anuloma and Patiloma. And also we should be confident in what the Blessed One explained. If we have real confidence in this is the way how suffering arises, nobody likes suffering. Everyone likes happiness. Everyone wants to overcome suffering. Therefore, if we trust in this message, what the Buddha explained, we should always try to overcome this circle. There, we should find the path which is Ariyo Atthangiko Maggo. Ayameva Ariyo Atthangiko Maggo. Sammaditthi Sutta explains 16 ways how we overcome these factors. With these factors of Patisampada, there are the 4 things: Ahara, Asava, Satya. There are some things there. There are 16 things that we should overcome. When we overcome one thing through the Ariyattangika Magga, we can overcome all the things. But it has a gradual path. The very first thing is Sutameya Panya. By listening to this message, we should develop our knowledge, the wisdom of hearing. There were some people in Buddha's time, while they were listening to Dhamma, because of they were gifted persons, they could fulfill other steps to Chintamaya Panya and Bhavanamaya Panya too. The wisdom of thinking and the wisdom of meditation. But we mostly should follow the gradual path. Having this understanding, we should practice sila, discipline in our speech and behavior. Samma vaca, samma kammanta, samma ajiva. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. These 3 things belong to the Sila Khanda, the part of virtue. And also that Sila is very important. That Sila is not the mundane level Sila based on the blissful life. This Sila is different, which is Dittinca Anupagamma Silava Dassanena Sampanno. Having understanding about the extremes, not falling into extremes as eternalism and nihilism, Sansatavada and Uchedavada, seeing the arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates as the middle path, we practice Sila. Then we practice Sila happily. It is not a heavy thing in our life. It is not boring in our life. Since already we have a spiritual dream, one day I have to overcome suffering. For that I have to develop my concentration. In order to ease my concentration, I have to follow Sila or discipline in my speech and behavior. There we practice Sila maximally. Anumattesu vajjesu bhayadassavi. We are afraid of doing any slight wrong conduct. And also, naca buddhaṃ samācare kiñci yena viñño parivadeyo. We don't do any slight wrong conduct which is concerned by the wise. That is the nature of the discipline when we see the path, when we see the final goal. And also, it helps us to concentrate our mind using some samatha bhavana, such as metta bhavana, dhatu manasikara, ānāpānasati. These are the meditation techniques. These are the things that make us happy. These are the tools of our playground in our spiritual playground. They are our hobbies. practicing samatha meditation techniques should be our hobbies. Buddha says, Atti bhikkhave dhamma abhiññā bhave tabba. As a wise person, the highest qualities that he should practice by his supramundane knowledge is that samathoja vipassanacha, concentration and wisdom. This is our duty. This is the most valuable things in this world that we can do for our real happiness, inner peace. Therefore, we spend our time for this practice while we are doing our day-to-day activities. All of us have a lot of things in our day-to-day life. But if we come to the Dhamma, Dhamma is the most valuable thing in our life. Therefore, we do everything based on the Dhamma. The easiest way to live in this world is that living according to Dhamma. The easiest way to live in this world is that practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. 𝒮𝓾𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓾. This is the straight path. This is the fearless path. The more we are on this path, the more we are happier. We are successful everywhere. We are going fast in our goals, not only our spiritual goals, our educational goals, our other righteous goals also can be successful when we practice this Dhamma to the maximum level. And also, we practice Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi according to the Samadhi Khanda. We increase the duration of practicing samatha meditation. We can practice Buddhanussati, Metta Bhavana, Anapanasati. When we practice those meditation techniques, finally we meet a very peaceful, very beautiful meditation technique, which is Anapanasati Bhavana. And also, not only that, but all the postures, all the activities we do based on mindfulness. Whenever we are mindful, it means we are practicing Dhamma. Abhikkante patikkante sampajanakārī hoti. Ālokite vilokite sampajanakārī hoti. Sanghati patta cīvara dharane sampajanakārī hoti. Gateti nisinne sutte jagrite sampajanakārī hoti. Uchchāra passāva kamme sampajanakārī hoti. Gaccanto agacchāmiti pajanāti, so on. Finally, so sato vassa sati, sato passa sati. Every breath we do mindfully, it means we have made a refuge within us, since always we are mindful, we are in the field of the Buddha. By practicing this path, always we should practice insight meditation, arising and ceasing of our 6 internal senses, 6 external objects, 18 elements, 5 aggregates, Nama Rupa Viññāna. Finally, we realize Nama Rupa Paricceda Jnana, mentality and corporeality with consciousness. We go to the highest level, realizing the mentality and corporeality. It means we know very well everything arises at the moment with the conditions. They immediately cease. Yatta nāmañca rūpañca asēsaṃ upurujjati patigaṃ rūpa saññañca ette sākīdate jatam. Wherever mentality and corporeality ceases without remaining anything, without going to again contact, that is the place where we release from suffering. When sunlight comes from the east direction to the west direction, when there is a ground, the shadow comes to the ground. When there is no ground or earth, if it is water, then shadow comes to the water. When sunlight comes from the east direction, when there is no ground, no water, there is no place for the shadow, it is vanished. Like that, when forms come to our life, if we are in the corner of the cessation of contact, Sparsha Nirodha, it doesn't depend on anywhere in our life. We know very well, everything has ceased. We see this world as empty. It doesn't mean that we don't respond to something, or we don't remember something, or we have no memory. The very interesting thing, the more we practice mindfulness based on the Noble Eightfold Path, the more we develop our memory. Some Arahants who have special spiritual energy, psychic energies, they can remember even they were in the mother's wombs. Not only that, some Arahants who had special psychic energies, they could remember more than 5,000 eons in their previous lives. Memory is not the fault. We can remember anything which happened in the past. The main doctrine in Buddhism is that mindfulness, sati, 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃 sarati, anuswarati, sati saranata, dharanata. Memory gradually increases when we practice mindfulness. Memory is not the fault. What is the fault? Ignorance. When we remember something, if our mind immediately goes to the past experience, and if we live in the past experience based on ignorance, then suffering arises, since we have defilements in our mind at that moment. That is why we have to overcome ignorance. The Buddha says ignorance is the worst enemy, worst defilement, that is the worst darkness in this world. There are some very dark places in this universe that we say black hole. One day Buddha explained the nature of the black hole, which is in some spaces in the universe. Monks ask Bhante, if there are any other more than darkness in this world? The Buddha says, yes, because there are more darkness than those black hole darkness, which is ignorance, unknowing the arising and ceasing of the five aggregates, the world, the suffering. Therefore, we have to overcome this ignorance, which is the worst darkness, worst defilements, worst enemy that disturb our peace of mind. For that, let's try to do our best, and also let's try to improve our Dhamma knowledge by associating with good friends and listening to Dhamma with wise consideration, yoniso manasikara. Let's practice Sila, Samadhi, Panya as much as we can. For that, I wish you all the best. I really appreciate your good attention and participation. By the power of this meritorious act and spiritual progress that we create here, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May all your spiritual goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. If you have any question, now you can ask. Bhante Metananda, Nance, our Dhamma friends.
Okay, you have mentioned the sutta, as I remember, Vibhanga. So, there are 5 books in 𝒮𝓾 and as I remember, second one is Dhamma.
Abhisamaya Samyutta.
Yeah, in Abhisamaya Samyutta. So in Nibbana Sutta, those are though many scholars says Nama Rupa as Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Viññāna, but in Nibbana Sutta, its interpretation is Phassa Vedana Sanya Chetana Manasika. What's the difference between these two?
Nama, according to Sutta Pitaka, we can see 5 things: Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Manasikara. Those are the Namanta, Nama and Viññāna, other part. According to Abhidhamma Pitaka, there are 7 things. Ekak Manasikara. Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Ekakata, Jivitindriya Manasikara. They are Sabbacita Sadharana Chaisika. Actually, it is more explanation. For more understanding, we can get some facts there. Actually, that is not a problem. Sometimes, for example, in Sutta Pitaka, there are 4 jhanas. In Abhidhamma Pitaka, there are 5 jhanas. Actually, there are more explanation in Abhidhamma Pitaka. On the other side, we can see 12 factors of Patisampada here, according to Sutta Pitaka. When we go into Abhidhamma Pitaka, Suvisuprattya, there are more facts, more information there. If you are so wise, actually we can follow Sutta Pitaka. If you are not more wise, we have to follow Abhidhamma Pitaka. More information there. If you can understand something very shortly, for example, Bahya Sutta, Evaṁ Hite Bahya Ditte Ditthamattam Bhavisati, Sute Suttamattam Bhavisati. If you can realize this very short discourse, that is enough. You don't need to follow Mahasatipatthana Sutta or any other long discourses. Since you are a gifted person, like Bahya Darukiriya. Actually, Sutta Pitaka is for the gifted persons. Mostly it explains very shortly. But when we come to the Abhidhamma Pitaka, there are more explanation for like us. Since it has more explanation, that is very interesting. Everything, when we refer the Suvisuprattya, 24 factors, there are nice explanation about the Patisampada. All the connections that we can see there. In here, we discuss actually in short, there are so many connections about our life, about the samsaric journey, about our mentality and cooperative. Everything explained in Patthana Prakarana as 24 factors. That is why the Patthana Prakarana is the biggest book in this world. It has many theories. Actually, if we have to know more things, we have to follow them. Sutta Pitaka, actually, more things have been explained in short.
Okay, is that your private interpretation about Sutta Pitaka and Dhammagaru? Because I have not heard that, and it is, I think your interpretation is very successful, because if someone cannot understand shortly, they should follow Abhidhamma. Is that your private interpretation, or how did you?
Actually, it is, even though my own understanding, we can apply it to Tripitaka too. For example, when we are going to understand Four Noble Truths, we can refer Dhammacakka Sutta. There are very good explanations there, even Triparivatta Dwadasakara. Very good explanation. Well, if we want to more information, we can go to Satya Samyutta. Samyutta Nikaya, Satya Samyutta explains more discourses. And also when we come to Patisambhidamagga, Satya Katha is there. And also when we go to Vimagga Prakarana, Satya Vimagga is more information. When you go to Yamaka Prakarana, Satya Yamaka, there are very beautiful explanations about the Four Noble Truths. Like that.
So how can you explain about Abhidhamma? Though some people explain it as Buddha's teaching or something. Dhamma called 𝒮𝓃 also in the 3rd century, and 𝒮𝓃 maybe after Buddha. And some scholars in the Oriental Buddhist country argue that 𝒮𝓃 is old and Abhidhamma is new. And what is your interpretation of that?
Yes, actually that is true. That is true. All the Tripitakas was completed by 3rd Sanghiti. It is correct. But we are sure that everything is recommended by the Arhantas. Arhantas have recommended everything. Therefore, we should think that it is very important to understand, no matter whether Buddha explained or not, whether it is related to the Buddha's understanding, Dhamma Vinaya. If it is related to Dhamma Vinaya, it is okay. What is Dhamma? Dhamma means Four Noble Truths and Patisampada. What is Vinaya? Raga Vinaya, Dosa Vinaya, Moha Vinaya. This is the measurement. No matter Buddha explained or not, no matter whether early Buddhism or late Buddhism, but if we are sure that this is help to our liberation, that is enough. Okay. Have any question? Okay, thank you so much for everyone for your good attention and participation. We are so happy with you for 1 hour, and by the power of all these spiritual energies that we accrue, may all of us attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca niddukkha, bhayam pantāca nidbhaya, sokam pantāca nissoka, hontu sabbe pipanino.